Purpose of this video is to give you some basics on Autodesk Inventor and specifically look at creating an individual part file. If you do not have the Autodesk Inventor icon on your desktop, then you may need to open the Start window from the bottom left corner, search for Autodesk, and then select Autodesk Inventor Professional 2016 to get started. If this is your initial login and you do not have the Autodesk Inventor icon on your desktop, then I would recommend that you go ahead and pin that to your taskbar. Notice I have this set up already on my taskbar, so I have the option to unpin. If you don't have it on your desktop or already on your taskbar, I would put it there so that the next time you log in, it's easy to access. So go ahead and open up Autodesk Inventor, and we're going to spend time looking at individual part files. So I'm going to begin with a new part. You notice I'll select new part, and my options here are an individual part, an assembly, a drawing file, and a presentation. I'm beginning here with the part. So our options here are to create some different shapes. And to begin, we need to go ahead and start a 2D sketch. And I like to select the XY plane. Your options are XY, YZ, or the XZ plane. I'm going to begin with the XY plane. And we're just going to practice some of the different commands here. We're going to use a rectangle. So I've selected that by left clicking on it. And as I bring cursor or bring the mouse out over the active window, I'm going to left click once. And then as I begin to drag the rectangle out, you can see the dimensions are showing, length and height. Now you can either left click again to drop the rectangle where it is, and then go back and set the dimensions, or you can just type them in while the windows are active. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and type 1 inch for the length, and then I'm going to press tab, and then I'm going to enter 1 inch for the height. I'm going to press enter, and I have a square that is 1 inch by 1 inch. Now at this point, I'm going to finish the sketch. The upper right hand part of the screen. And then I can start to extrude this to make it a three-dimensional shape. So I'll select extrude. And you may need to, if it doesn't completely open this tab up, you might need to click the drop down arrow here so that you can see the dimension to extend your shape. And in this case I want it 1 inch. If I didn't want it to be 1 inch, I could change that number. I could make it 3/4 of an inch or 2 inches. I could also choose to extrude it away from me. I could extrude it symmetrically or asymmetrically, a certain distance from each side of the plane. I'm just going to extrude it direction 2, which is away from me. I'm going to set that back at 1 inch, and then I'll click OK to accept those changes. Now I have a three-dimensional part. I have a cube that's 1 inch by 1 inch by 1 inch. And at this point I could go to Tools and select a material, which sometimes it's nice to add some color. I'm going to select gold in this case. And for that to apply, I click the little up arrow to add it to the document. And by the way, this view cube, you can grab the corners, drag it around. You can click a specific side. So if I wanted to see the front, I can rotate the view cube like this. To get to the home position, you just click the little home tab here. All right, so that is a basic cube. And I'm going to go back here to my sketch menu up here at the top. And I'm going to go ahead and add another sketch to this. So I'm going to start a 2D sketch, and now I'm going to select another face of the cube. And so I'm going to create a circle. And let's say I want this circle to be a 1/2 inch. I'm going to type 0.5. So I have a circle that's a 1/2 inch diameter. Now I also want this circle to be centered on the cube. So I'm going to need to dimension this circle, place it where I want it. So I'm going to select the dimension command, and I'm going to dimension from the outside edge of the cube to the center of the circle, and I want that dimension to be set at a 1/2 inch. And that adjusts that circle so that it's in the center. And I also need to locate it from the other side. So I'm going to add another dimension. And this time I'm going to go from the top to the center of the circle. And I'm going to make that a 1/2 inch as well. So now I know that the circle perfectly centered on that square. So I'm going to finish this sketch. And now I've got some options here that I can extrude from this new face. And you can see they show up here: edit extrude, edit sketch, create sketch. And I can change some of the characteristics here. And I'm going to cancel that and actually select the circle. And so sometimes you've got to be careful about what part of the sketch you're selecting. I wanted to go ahead and select the circle that I created. And I can use this, I can change the direction so that it goes all the way through to the next plane or to the next face. Click OK. And now I have a hole that goes through the cube. So you've got a couple of commands and things that you can experiment with now when making an individual part. I could select a different face now, start another 2D sketch over here, and again I could create a circle or a rectangle on this face and then extrude it to create a variety of different shapes or features. Whenever you're finished, you want to make sure that you save your work. At this point, I'm going to go ahead. I'll just make a rectangle here. Make it smaller. And finish that sketch. And I'm going to go ahead and extrude that through it as well. Let's cancel that here actually. Sometimes you need to adjust your view cube here to get the feature that you want. And I want that to go through it again to the next face. And you can kind of see how that works. But now at this point, being the sketch is finished, I've extruded it, I can save this. I'm going to go over here to File and Save As. And at this point, you want to select a folder to put it in. If you don't have a folder created for this class, you can create a folder right there. And I would call it Design Modeling or Inventor Files, something that you will remember, and it will be a place for you to keep your files. Just going to leave it in this puzzle cube folder that I have created, and then go down here and give it a name. I'm going to call it Cube 2 and save it. Alright, that's going to wrap it up for some basics on how to use sketches and how to create a very basic part. We will revisit this and look at some other features in a future video.